Welcome back to the channel. This is Oblivion, and it looks like we're not getting a Fate channel. I feel like we've been getting baited for the past couple days. Like, are we gonna get a Fate channel or not? I think the pattern is every other year, so technically we shouldn't be getting one this year, and obviously we're not. We are getting a new Heroes banner, it looks like. Now the question is, as it has been for like 5 months now, maybe more than 5 months, is it going to be Engage, right? Like, please give us Engage already. It's been so long, like, it's ridiculous. So let's just jump in. Hopefully we get Engage here. It could also be the mid-year banner. So maybe we get like a Mythic or a Legendary. Last year we got Letizia, so who knows actually what we'll get. Let's find out. Okay, so we're actually getting an Ascended Hero, which is nice because I don't have any florets. It's Fur. It's FE6. Okay. She looks nice. Her art looks fine, I guess. I don't know why they kind of gave her a revealing top. I don't really like that, if I'm being honest. That looks kind of weird. This is kind of like Ascended Merida for me, where like she's the exact same thing again. So I'm not too excited, I'm not gonna lie. There is no follow-up 4, it looks like. Huh, no follow-up 4 technically. I think they're splitting it though into different versions. Okay, so let's break down this a little bit. So you have Slaying, you have at start of turn, if your special cooldown is not at max, you get Times Pulse essentially, then you get +5 to all stats. I think the max you can get is 9, which is pretty strong. So if like they have a Slaying 2 cooldown special, then it will only be 1. So it'll be 2 times 11 minus 2, so it'll be 9. Okay, that's pretty good. Then you also get some damage reduction, 40% versus the first attack. And then if she outspeeds the foe by 5, she gets anti-guard. And then again, if her HP is greater than 25% at start of combat and her special cooldown is at max value, then she gets grant special cooldown count -1 to unit after combat. So that's a lot of effects there. So essentially what she's going to be doing is she is going to be constantly having her special up a lot too. So essentially this weapon is very similar to Ascended Merida's, which also has Times Pulse and then a cooldown after combat. I think Merida's is a little bit easier to activate. This one has a little bit more of a stringent condition, but even so, this just seems like an upgrade over Ascended Merida for the most part. You don't get full no follow-up. Instead, you get some other effects like stats and anti-guard. But as you can see, she has physical no follow-up, which is speed and defense -4, then you get full no follow-up, and you also reduce the percentage of foes' non-special damage reduction by 50%. So that would mean like, you know, not flat damage reduction or special damage reduction, but like the kind from like close call or something like that. Interesting, interesting. So when it comes to physical no follow-up, how do I think? I think it's okay, but I don't think it's amazing. And the reason for that is if it follows the same inherent conditions as normal no follow-up, right? Only infantry will have access to this. So what are you really getting over no follow-up? You're getting some damage reduction, halving, essentially, not piercing, but halving, and some stats. Now that's cool and all, but you could also just have a better B slot there, right? And then you could have no follow-up outsourced to a different unit. And if you do that, you get like, overall a more powerful skill. Now having some damage reduction, piercing, or halving is still very nice. So I don't think this is like useless by any means, but it's definitely not the upgrade I was kind of hoping for no follow-up. I was honestly hoping for like maybe a different effect or something like that. I'm not sure. So I'm not too big on the skill. I think it's still good. I just don't think it's going to be like the go-to B skill. I think you're pretty much better with a unit like this going for like close call 4 or something like that. Now when it comes to her roles, she's obviously wants to be like a God Sword Omni Tank mixed phase unit, right? Like that's what she really wants to do. She can also do Gale Force decently well because she has that built-in Times Pulse, right? So you could put on another Times Pulse, and then that would essentially put Times Pulse down to 2 cooldown. And then with the anti-guard, you can obviously pretty much get in there pretty easily and proc a Gale Force as long as she hits twice. So she'll be very good at Gale Force as well. And then if you are using physical no follow-up, she will do more damage than a typical God Sword probably just because she does have that damage reduction halving. And then you like put Vital Astra on her as well. So that's a good option. So overall, I think that this is going to be a good unit. Like she's going to be good in some game modes, right? Like the game mode she's probably do well run in is like Aetheryte's offense, like on Gale Force, or like as an Omni Tank. Maybe she could be used in Summoner Duel as well as like a raid boss probably. I could see her definitely being used that way. I don't think she's as good as our other God Swords though, if I'm being honest. I think that if we look at like Lucia's better in my opinion still. Probably Fallen Violet as well. I think Fallen Violet is more unique, having that Vantage effect, as well as having damage reduction that can't be pierced, right? If she gets to hit first. I think that's much, much better. I even like Felix more, I think. I think if I had to put her in a place on that tier list, I'd probably put her alongside Felix in that situation. She does get the advantage of having a ton of speed, which is really nice. But other than that, like I don't see anything insane here that like really makes her stand out as an Omni tank. Let's keep on moving on. Let's see the next FE6 character who's going to be dropping. I don't even know who this is. Noah. I don't even remember Noah from FE6. I don't know if that just makes me like forgettable, like if I'm just bad or he's that forgettable. Okay, so let's look at his weapon. His weapon overall, what does it do? It has slaying. You get to have a nice little support and buffing effect where you get dodge and you get to neutralize opposed bonuses for your support partners. That's like some decent support. Then you get some stats, you get plus 5 all stats, and then some true damage, 50% of the foe's attack, which isn't bad, and it works with AoEs. Overall, I think this unit's a skip super hard. If you're a big Noah fan, obviously you're gonna like him. He's not bad by any means, but man, you know, Cav Lance is a very, very competitive movement type plus weapon type combo, and this isn't doing much for me. This is like, in my opinion, he just doesn't stand out enough to be like a top Lance Cav. When it comes to roles, obviously he can do stuff like Gale Force, he can do like tanking to an extent, right? He's gonna be pretty fast because he has built-in dodge, and he's gonna be able to neutralize opposed bonuses, so he can stack stats decently well. You could try to go for AoEs as he does get that true damage with that as well. But honestly, I just don't see the most use for him. I don't see anything really particular. You could try using him on Gale Force and Aether Raid's offense, but that's pretty much it. I don't think this is a unit good enough for Summoner Duels by any means. Let's move on to the demote. Okay, so Dorothy's our demote. Okay, anything good here? Let's see. We got 03, that's okay fodder. Speed to res ideal, not great fodder. Defier's Bow, effective against flying, grants defense plus 5 to unit and inflicts defense minus 5 on foe during combat. And also, if foe has bonuses, grants bonus to unit's defense, inflicts penalty on foe's defense during combat equal current bonus on foe's defense. That's mid. It's not going to do much. You're going to be much, much better off with an arcane bow. Unfortunately, this is just another demo I don't see really going anywhere. Maybe she has a good stat line and we can make use of that. But other than that, this is a unit you're only be building if Dorothy's a favorite from FE6. Okay, so actually, so this is the mid-year banner. We're getting a mythic. Oh, it's Heidr. Okay. Okay, so we have a stat line of 59 attack, 45 speed, 29 defense, 20 res. So she's very offensively built, obviously, with 45 attack and speed naturally. It also looks like she has a staff, but she's a green tome. That's kind of weird. Like, why can't she just be a staff unit? So let's start off with Heidr going over that. We have slaying. If she uses a rally assist skill, she inflicts some -4 to all stats on the foe and guard, pretty typical based off her position and the target's position as well. And then if she initiates combat or she's within 2 spaces of an ally, she has plus 5 to all stats. She has 15% true damage based off her attack, not working with AoEs, and she has 30% damage reduction. Now I'm gonna be honest, this is not very impressive as a PRF weapon nowadays. It's like pretty much hitting like the baseline of things you want, but doesn't have a lot of other things, right? It doesn't have like offensive no follow-up, doesn't have a guaranteed follow-up attack. She is fast though, so you would probably want no follow-up. I mean, you can give it to her as an infantry unit, so it's not the biggest deal, but these effects aren't like anything insane in my opinion, right? They're decent, they're not bad, but they're not like game-breaking. But now we have Gold Serpent. Now Gold Serpent is a new rally assist skill, which is really interesting as it has multiple effects based off what turn it's used on. So if it's used on turn 1, you get attack and speed plus X. X equals the number of turns times 2, max 8. What that means is that you can now get a visible bonus of attack and speed plus 8, which is a new cap, right? Because hone speed 4 is 7, I believe. So that's pretty cool. That's a nice little effect you can get. From turn 2 on, though, you get Canto 1 as well, which is really nice. Get some extra mobility. From turn 3 on, you get Treachery. And that is really powerful. If you don't know what Treachery is, it's true damage based off your visible bonuses. That's exactly what like Harmonic Roy has, right? And also also Harmonic Cordelia. So it's very, very strong. Gonna give a ton of true damage, which is really nice. And she's gonna supply at least 8 to attack and speed, so that's 16 true damage at the minimum. And then from turn 4 on, you also get Dual Strike. That's right, you're actually getting the Cordelia effect as well. So now you actually have the effect where you can do a brave attack just by doing a rally. And she'll be right next to the unit after rallying, so you'll also be able to just do it immediately, right? So that's really cool as well. But the big thing is it grants another action to unit. So this is gonna work similar to Change Fate for like Brave Crom or like Legendary Crom or Dual Crom or whatever, right? Where she gets her action renewed, which is a really big deal a lot of times. Now the difference obviously is that you're not getting that reposition effect, which means that she's not really getting forward momentum like Crom will, or she's not going to be able to give forward momentum to a different unit, but she's still going to be able to give herself another action, which is really cool because what you could do essentially in something like Summer Duels is you could like have like a more of a stally team in the back. You have her in the back, she moves forward, she does her Gold Serpent rally, and then it gives the unit that power that they need, and then it also delays a turn. So you're kind of like stalling a turn with that action, and then she can either go in and kill something, or her ally can go in and kill something. So I think this is actually a pretty cool skill. I'm glad to see that they are like updating rally skills and actually making them interesting with some cool effects. And to be honest, this is a ton of power, right? Getting attack and speed +8, Canto 1, Treachery, and Dual Strike while granting their action. It's definitely an insane assist skill. Now the final thing we have to check out obviously is magical no follow-up. It seems to be exactly the same as physical no follow-up, but instead this time it's speed and resistance -4, full no follow-up, and then you get the damage reduction halving. Now this unit is pretty interesting. When it comes to roles, obviously she is a support unit and a nuke. Those are her two roles she's going to be playing. So obviously her weapon has that rally skill where she's going to be able to debuff enemies and put guard on them, and then Gold Serpent's going to allow her to not only buff herself but also her ally she rallies. So she's going to offer some really powerful support that can be really useful. And when it comes to her ability to nuke, obviously she's going to be really strong as well, because she does have those stats and true damage, and then she also, when Gold Serpent gets to turn 4, she's going to have a brave effect, true damage, and a ton of stats, right? And even Canto 1, so she's going to be pretty mobile. When it comes to safety, she has damage reduction in her weapon and in Remote Sparrow, so that's a nice chunk of damage reduction to protect herself from. The big things that you're going to have to notice, obviously, is that she doesn't have no follow-up in her weapon, which means that you either stick with magical no follow-up in her B slot, or you give to her from a different source, and then you give her something like Special Spiral 4, right? And when you do that, then you can have like a 2 cooldown special that pierces damage reduction, and then her nuking capability goes up drastically. Now when it comes to game modes, what modes will she be used in? Now obviously this is an Astra Mythic, so her biggest role is going to be Aether Raid's offense. Now where do you use her at? That's the real question. That's the problem thing I'm trying to think about, because yes, you do want some killing ability in Aether Raid's offense, but typically you don't bring supports that help you nuke really hard. That's just not really a role that you bring all that much. Maybe you bring light in like a hit and run team, that's pretty much it, right? Like, because on an Omni Tank team, this could help, like this could definitely make them strong, but Dual Strike doesn't work on enemy phase, so it doesn't help really there. On a Gale Force team, you're going to prefer to have a different Gale Force unit typically, or you would just bring like Harmonic Cordelia herself, right, to have the Dual Strike so that she can Gale Force. Same thing could kind of be said with Save Balls. I mean, they don't mind having a lot of stats of Treachery, but she's not going to help all that much as well. So I'm not exactly sure what strategy she fits into, if I'm being completely honest, because there's not really one for her to exist in at the moment. Other game modes she could be used in is like Summoner Duels, obviously. I don't know how good she's going to be there. She's very powerful and she offers a ton of support, so there's definitely a way to use her. But unlike some other supports like Duo Thor or Legendary Eliwood, who are very common in Summoner Duels, you actually have to use an action to get these buffs. Now the buffs are very powerful and you can use that action to stall, so there is definitely some merits to using her. But I'll have to see if she makes the cut. It's going to be kind of difficult because SD is such a competitive game mode. Honestly, I think she could have been more interesting as a defense unit instead of an offense mythic, because you could kind of have some like rally traps essentially, where she just gives a unit like a ridiculous amount of power and then they just kind of blow something up. So I think that could have been more interesting instead of an offense unit. Okay, so our free-to-play unit is going to be Murdoch. Murdoch's a pretty cool character. I like Murdoch, so that's kind of cool to see him in the game. We also have Kabasir as a red mage cab, so it'll be interesting to see what she does as well before she turns into Gold Egg, right? So that'll be interesting. Okay, let's jump into the Astra Mythic tier list. So on the very top of S+, we're going to have Altina, and that's no surprise if you know me. I know a lot of people are going to scream like I'm being biased, and obviously every person has their bias, but I do honestly think Altina is the best Astra Mythic right now if you look at the overall picture, right? The truth is, Altina is extremely powerful in Aether Raid's offense. Her and Ninja Camilla have pretty much brought back Vantage into the meta, which is outstanding. She's also one of the most powerful units in Summoner Duels, especially in SDS. I've pretty much hit SDS rank 1 every single season. Since her Refine, I've essentially hit SDS rank 1 with Altina every single time with very little prep. She's extremely powerful when it comes to that. Now, I want to make this clear, if we're talking about Aether Raid's offense, I think Plumeria is the better mythic overall, definitely. She's a dancer, right? She fits into every single strategy. So don't get me wrong, she is definitely the more powerful there, but you don't use Plumeria outside of Aether Raid's offense, and that's why I have Altina at number 1. At number 3, we have Elamine, obviously. What's there to say? Elamine has false start. She's extremely powerful. She doesn't really help much in Gale Force, but in every other strategy, she can just shut down all the problematic units while also offering a ton of support. Down in S tier under that, we're going to have Heidr. Now, Heidr is a very powerful mythic. She could be S+ in the right hands. But the truth is, she requires a lot of thought, planning, and a lot of setup to really get the full power of her. You really want to use her with like an AoE strategy or something like that, where she can open up some area, maybe cause a Gale Force play, and then she can turn off a few units, right? It's not the easiest mythic to use, but she is very powerful. After that, we have Regan. Regan's still amazing. She's just so good. Even if you don't use her for like a combat unit, like she's just an amazing pot hound, as Joel puts it. She's great at positioning units. She's great at hit and running. She's just a fantastic unit. After that, we have Thor. Thor has definitely dropped in value since her release. She is no longer like the amazing Gale Force initiator she once was, just because of all the damage reduction flying around and stuff like that, and follow-up denial as well from like Hardy Fighter. So she's definitely dropped a bit in value, but she's still an amazing Gale Force mythic. She can really help out as like a follow-up Gale Forcer, or even give out that cooldown support if you're trying to use her with like maybe like a Omni Tank or something like that. So fantastic mythic. Then we have Heidr, our newest mythic. I'm going to put her in S for right now in this position. I can see her going up maybe a little bit farther, maybe past Regan. The biggest problem I have with her at the moment is I just don't understand where she is meant to be played. She's kind of like Euler in Light Season, where Euler is a pretty good nuke, but like you just don't need that in that role, right? You don't need that in Aether Raid's offense very often. And so I feel like she's in that position where she can be a very powerful nuke, and she can offer some really powerful support. But it's all offensive, it's all player phase, and she isn't a Gale Forcer. If she was literally just a different weapon type, if she was like, let's say a sword or a lance or whatever else, I think she automatically goes right up into S+, because then she could offer that ton of support for your Gale Force initiator, and then she also gets another action, so then she could like Wings of Mercy in and help you Gale Force, right? But with her current position as a green tome, she just cannot do that. So I don't see exactly where she's going to be used. I'm sure somebody will figure it out, and maybe she'll be amazing. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe, I mean, she looks like a powerful nuke, so maybe she goes up just because of that. But I'm going to have her in S for right now. After that, we're going to have Naga, the original Astra Mythic, and she is pretty good. She's a good support. She's just not fantastic, and a lot of her support can be, like, given by other units. Other than that dragon effectiveness, of course, which is pretty good. And then, unfortunately, all the way down in B tier, we're going to have Ashera. Ashera has just been power crept to hell. She just doesn't really have anything unique about her anymore, which really sucks. So I'm hoping when she does get her Refine Remix in like a billion years, she's just absurd like Yune is. So we can all hope and dream, right? Now, should you be pulling on this banner? The pros. If FE6 is your favorite, right, go for it. Max out these units, have a ton of fun. If Fur is one of your favorite characters and you want a new God Sword, go for it. We've just gotten so many God Swords lately, it's kind of ridiculous. Like, we've gotten like, what, 5 in the past month, or past 5 months? I think we've gotten one every single month, so it's really difficult to stand out, and in my opinion, Fur stands out a bit, but she's definitely not like as good as someone like Lucia, or even like Fallen Violet, so yeah. Then we have like good fodder in Null Fallout 4. I think this fodder is cool. It can be definitely effective on certain units, but it's not like a standout beast skill that you have to have, right? Especially because you can just get Null Fallout, the important part of the effect, from other support units, right? So like you don't necessarily need to run this in your B slot, which is one of the most valuable slots on your character. And then lastly, if you're a big fan of Heidr, maybe you pull for her. When it goes to cons though, I'm gonna be honest, I think that this banner is not meta defining by any means. I don't think there's any unit on here you need for any reason at all. Let's be real, everyone has merged up Astra Mythics by now. Maybe if you're a new player, you can go here because you can Sparker, so there's some value there, right? But other than that, there's not much, right? We have an Engage banner coming eventually this year, like maybe in December, because it sure isn't anytime soon. And then we have Summer banners coming up in the next month or two. So, I mean, I would be saving orbs for that, honestly. So I think this banner is a skip overall. I would not pull unless you are like a Giga Whale, or like these are your favorite characters, essentially. But now I'd love to hear from you. What do you think of this banner? What do you think of Heidr? Do you think she's going to be a great mythic, or she's going to be kind of underwhelming? And are you going to be pulling on this banner? Once again, I'd love to thank all my members for all their constant support, and if you enjoyed the video, like and subscribe. This has been Oblivion, I'll catch you later.